saint. This saint was Saint Bibiane. She came from a noble family and she was a virgin and a martyr. She lived in the Roman Empire in the 4th century, and her family was known for her piety, for her love and charity, and they were well respected in the community. And her father had a high position in the Roman government, but that came at a cost. He had to uphold his integrity. So when Emperor Julian wanted to institute the worship of idols, he had to speak out against it. So in response, Emperor Julian branded him as a slave with an iron on his head and sent him to Tuscany to die in a long agonizing death as a martyr. And in the meanwhile, their mother and the 2 sisters were put in a house by Emperor Julian so they may starve to death. But to Emperor Julian's miscontentment, it was taking too long. So what did he do? He decided to get the mother beheaded. Saint Defrosa, pray for us. And then after the 2 sisters, they were put in charge of a Apronian to make them renounce their faith. So what did he do? He stole all their goods and sent them in a small prison so they may lose their courage and vigor. But to their surprise, they came out of the prison with even more health, strength, and courage. So what did he do? He sent them into a tribunal, menacing them with a horrible and cruel death. But that's when they said they would rather die 1,000 deaths than renounce their faith and love they had for Jesus Christ. So, and then at that moment, the sister of Bibiane, Dimitri, died at her foot, and her soul went up to heaven like a dove. And right after that, Apronian tried to bribe her with flattery, but giving her friendships, promises, and none of that was working. So what did he do? He had no more things to do. So he asked his guards to strap her on a pillar and whip her to death with a big whip with iron on the sides. And in the end, she ended up dying on 363. And then they took her body and gave it to the dogs to be eaten. But 2 days later, the body was still intact. So thankfully, a good priest by the name of John came and took the body back and brought it to be united with her mother and her sister, and where she could be buried and have a good burial. Saint Bibiane, patron saint of single women, patron saint of headaches, patron saint of seizures, and patron saint of people with insanity, pray for us.